Okay, thank you. Daniel, are you there with us? Daniel? All right. Pamela, are you there? Pamela?
She's muted.
Yes, hello, I'm here.
Yes, yes.
Can you
Can
hear
you
me?
put your video on, please?
I prefer not to, if that's okay.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Thank
That's
you.
fine.
So I live in the DC area. Also, I just got out of a 1-year relationship with someone who I came to realize was a narcissist and a sociopath. So when I saw this information about this, I guess this Zoom come up, I was curious to know what you guys had to say about that.
Okay, thank you. So I think this will be a topic that's going to be very familiar to you, and I think you're going to appreciate it more than most.
Okay.
Stephanie, your turn.
Hi, yeah. So I'm the same. I mean, it's just a struggle. I've had a similar experience to Pamela. I was with someone for about a year, and he literally just ghosted me. So so that's been my experience, and the challenge is just meeting somebody genuine, and I'm introverted, so I'm not like a social butterfly. So that's probably one of my biggest challenges.
Okay, okay, perfect. So you know what? I think everyone except Daniel. Daniel is not online. I don't know what happened to him. He logged in, but I think technical difficulty. But anyway, when he gets back in, we will log him back in. Okay, so we're gonna get started. And the way that this event is gonna happen is that at the end, you guys gonna have 15 to 20 minutes of question and answers. So you could ask any question or any concern that you may have, or especially topics that we didn't cover. Remember, we only have like an hour or so to be able to really cover a very wide area of what narcissistic is, the red flags, and there's a lot of flags, okay? It's impossible to cover them all. Even though we try our best to be able to give you all the tools that you need, we're still gonna be able to miss a few. So that's gonna be left for next sessions or next seminar. So Yani, how do you wanna get started?
Okay, so let's start with commitment phobia.
Okay.
How do you identify a commitment phobe, and why is it not ideal to stick to a relationship with a commitment phobe?
Okay, well, that's a good question. I'm going to do my best to be able to explain it on the psychological side of it. Now, most of my patients, when they come to me, I always notice one common trait. It's they all have problem originating from not birth, but when they were young. Commitment phobia has a lot to do with the idea that nothing or no one they meet is good enough. It's always the fear of missing out on who is better, who can be. It's like the opportunity cost of dating. So as you all know, I'm not sure if everyone knows what opportunity cost is, but if you date this person, what are you missing out on something better? Okay. So that has a lot of repercussion on how the parents, and especially those who suffer from commitment phobia, have been raised in a family that have either just a mother or a father. They are a lot that has to do with the father will go to their son to say, you know what, I made a mistake marrying your mom. Before you do this, make sure that you really are making the right choice. But they're always going to discourage the son to be able to make the next step, to be able to find the right person in their life. And if they do meet someone in their life, they're always going to try to find mistakes about that person. And this is just to be able to kind of be more of feeling that nothing is their fault, when they actually are trying to be able to find the reason why they should break up. And it's going to be a repeating pattern all their life. They're always going to try to find something better. That person is not good enough for them. That person is not rich, is not pretty, is not nice body, nice this. Whatever answer, whatever reason, they're always going to find excuses. So that always feeds the element of I need to meet someone better. I need to always, or I'm too afraid that I'm going to be cheated on. I'm too afraid that I cannot trust this person, and so on and so forth. So a lot to do with trust as well. Yani, do you want to add a little bit more to it? I'm sure that I probably forgot a few items.
Well, I I dated a commitment phobe for about 1.5 years, who had many other problems than that. And you're totally right. He was raised in a family where it was a dysfunctional family. The marriage was a disaster. His parents' marriage was a disaster. And 100% you're right. They don't trust anyone. Deep inside, it's very difficult for them to trust because they grew up in an environment where trust, and usually one of the parents, I would say probably the father, was a cheater also. So when you grow up in an environment where you can't trust your own people, your parents, your siblings, it's very difficult for you to trust anyone, period. So deep inside of them, they have a real hard time to trust someone. And then it's linked to narcissistic behavior, which to them, they are so superior, and you might not see it. They feel so superior than others that it's very difficult for them to find someone that they consider to be at their level. And because their expectations are completely unrealistic and way too high, they get disappointed very easily. They are emotionally very sensitive. So you will see at the beginning of the relationship, it could be amazing, and they give you and they make you feel like you're the most special person that they have ever waited for, that they have been waiting for their entire life. But shortly after, they start like a roller coaster of feelings and mood, because they constantly get disappointed, because they can't get what they want, because they have a void inside of them that they can feel, that they can feel, they can fill up. So they try to fill it up with attention, for example, and they can never get enough. And they have fear of missing out because they need so much attention, and they need someone who's always better, prettier, wealthier, more successful, younger. They're always looking for something better, constantly trying to fill that void. And then why committing to one person when I can have whoever I want? Because they feel superior than others. So for them, it's very difficult to commit to just one person. And then undecisiveness could also come into play. They might be very undecisive. In my case, he was very undecisive too. And undecisiveness, if you think about it, someone who struggles to make a decision or is used to having others make a decision for them is tremendously troubling for them. How to commit to someone when they are so volatile, they're so unstable emotionally and mentally. So as a coach, I always tell my clients, in order to succeed in love, like anything in life, you need clarity and you need focus. If you are in a relationship that you feel that is unstable, if you're emotionally in a roller coaster, if your partner is constantly changing plans, backing them up, postponing things, you can't have the proper clarity in your way. If a relationship doesn't progress, you're focusing on the wrong relationship. Once you start the relationship and you see narcissistic behavior, you see that the person constantly strives to make a decision, you see that they have certain dates during the week with you, but then the weekends, they want to be free. They give you excuses to be with their friends, to travel with their friends. They're looking for something else. It's so clear. It's so clear. So why waste time with someone like this? It's better to break it off at the beginning when you see that things are not progressing, when things are not going the right way. You break it off and you continue your way, because you want to focus on the right partner. You cannot waste time with someone that's not sure, that is constantly changing plans, that is displaying undecisiveness, fear of missing out, that is not sticking to the plans, that is trying to escape from the relationship from time to time, doesn't have, it's not sure on what's going to happen in the future. You don't want to waste your time in a relationship like this. So plain and simple, break it off, walk away. At the beginning, it's always easy.
Well, that was very elaborated. Thank you.
I tried to elaborate it, but make it short.
But the thing is, there's a lot to do also with those who deal with disorders. Now, can you really blame someone for dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression from within, if they're not really healed and they have not fixed themselves first? They're not ready to go into a relationship. Most of my patients that I deal with are narcissistic. And this is a very, very big challenge because many of them, and I know that one of the attendee have dealt with someone who was narcissistic and very toxic. The thing is that you have to really not allow yourself to react. Remember, there's a difference between responding and reacting, okay? The responding is when you are in control of your emotion. The reacting is when you allocate the control to someone else. So if you react aggressively, it's because the narcissistic was able to take control over your emotions. You have to make sure to not allow that to happen. They will basically emotionally charge you so you could react and not respond. So a lot of people say, well, then if I do not respond or I do not react, then I'm basically a pushover. Well, that's the immediate reaction that you will have. But no, that actually will make you someone more powerful. Because remember, what is the strength of a narcissistic? The biggest strength is what they do what we call gaslighting. But gaslighting is only possible if you are gaslightable. If you're gaslightable, then you allow the narcissistic to be able to take control of your emotion, to be able to tell you or how to guide the conversation. And that's the biggest problem. Now, if anyone knows what gaslighting is when someone will project their negativity into you and will basically make you feel like you have to second guess your decision in life, that you have to second guess basically every action that you take. This is what gaslighting is. So what does the narcissist do? They will try to always make you feel guilty about trying to go against their personal agenda. Remember, with a narcissist, there's either in or out. You're either in the team or out of the team. There's no gray part here. There's no middle. So what you need to really focus on is that if they come to you and tell you, oh my God, I cannot believe you changed or you became so aggressive. Well, this is the way for them to be able to take control of your behavior. And if you say, oh, I'm sorry, no, because you want to keep that person, then you're falling in their trap. You cannot allow yourself to be able to do that. And you always have to know that narcissist is all about themselves. Remember, ladies, you cannot change a man, okay? It has to sink in because a lot of people say, oh, no, I'm going to date him. I know there's red flags, but I know I could change him. Nah, you cannot change him. Changing does not exist in a man. It could only change if they're willing to change, okay? And that's something that you have to really understand. And also narcissists always try to feel high, but the way to feel high and to put themselves in a pedestal, they have to bring everyone back down. So that you'll never be on his same level or her same level. So as Yani was saying, they always want to be able to feel powerful because you feed them ammunition. And now I know a lot of women, when they meet someone new, it's all the excitement, all the newness of a relationship. And one big mistake is they open up their personal life to that person. And do you know what that means? You're giving the person ammunition because they will use this in the future to be able to attack you and to make other people be against you. So never give too much personal information. This is not Facebook here, okay, where people just give away their lives. You have to keep something a little bit more secret. You have to keep yourself a little bit more personal and not allow yourself to be able to give too much of yourself because they will end up using this against you, okay? It's like when you're being arrested by the cop, never say anything or else they're gonna use this in court. So same thing, same idea. So also, like in general, if you give them the control, they will take it. And everything that you do will go against you. Go ahead, Yani.
Since narcissists don't really care about your feelings, you have to be very careful because what they really want, they want to charm you out. They're tremendous charmers, usually. And they'll present themselves as the one that you were waiting for. Because what they really want is to extract from you, If they're interested for a reason. For example, commitment phobes many times, like I said, are linked to narcissistic behavior. So in that case, they don't want to be with you for a long time. They don't want to marry you. They have no interest in a long-term relationship, but they do want to have companionship. They do want to have entertainment. So they're going to make you believe that they are the ones that you were waiting for, just to drag you along, to use you. They have a problem connecting emotional-wise with someone else. And you need to have that in mind, because they will wreck you. You might fall for them and they will wreck you. So what I tell my clients is the following. I tell them, first of all, the first few months, say the first 3-4 months, observe. Don't open yourself up so quickly. Be an observer. Try to learn who you're dealing with, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one getting hurt. So it's wiser to enjoy your dating life, but to be careful and to be always observing that person, because it's the only way that you can possibly keep yourself safe. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then narcissistic are usually cheaters, because they don't really care about you. Okay? So they are cheaters most of the time. Do you agree with me, Dan?
Yes, because that comes a lot with selfishness. And, you know, you remind me of something as well. You could go and check this online if you want. In quantum mechanics, there's what we call the double slit experiment. Okay, double slit experiment. If you could check it out. But I'm going to use it in the dating scene. As Yani was mentioning, it's all about how you observe. Some people may take more than 4 months. So 4 months is not really a rule of thumb here. If it takes you more time to be able to observe the behavior, go ahead. They are very good in charming, as Yani was saying. This is their strong point. They're going to feel like you are on top of the world. But really, you're just bringing them up, because eventually you're going to end up at the end of the pyramid. Okay? So if you look at what they do, so if you observe them to be the nicest people in the world, and after 4 months, you feel that the relationship is going downhill, but other people will still feel they're the great people, like outside your environment. They will always say, oh no, your boyfriend is amazing, he's great, but you know who they are really. So you try to explain yourself, and then it's only going to come and bite you in the ass. Okay? They're going to come and tell you.
Plain and simple.
You're wrong. Yeah, you're wrong. He's very nice. But really, this is how they could get their, they get built their surroundings. And at the end, when you're the one who's going to be left alone, they're going to accuse you of you're the one who left the relationship. And then everyone is going to say, well, you're the one who's the relationship wrecker, not them. But really, they took advantage of you, of your weakness. So don't give them ammunition. Like Yani was saying.
Well, they never make mistakes.
Sorry, no, they never
Can
make
I add something? They never make mistakes. So
and
because they don't make mistakes, they put the blame on someone else.
Yes, I think it's a chemical imbalance in their mind. They lack empathy. They don't know what empathy is. So for you, you may feel something towards something or towards someone. They don't have the same logical or emotional sensitivity towards you. You give all yourself and they give nothing. And that's the biggest problem in with dealing with narcissistic personality disorder. And like I said before, you're never going to be able to fix or change them. So take this off of your mind. Take this goal away from your the relationship, because it is not going to happen. They have an agenda. They will follow this agenda. If you're with them, great. If you're not, hasta la vista, baby.
I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Because most, especially women, we try so hard to change someone, and we really convince ourselves that we have the capacity to change that person, because we unconsciously might be desperate to find the one, which is completely natural. Nothing wrong, but at the same time, it's something to be careful, because then you're finding potential in people that don't have enough potential for you, and you think that you can improve them. But like he said, tremendous mistake, because improvement only comes from the person itself. And even if the person wants to improve himself or herself, it's very difficult. A lot of people, they really want to get something done. I want to be this type of person that I'm not. I want to change. I don't want to be an abuser anymore. I don't want to lie anymore. But they can't. They keep falling into the same old ways because that's the way they are. Why is it so difficult for someone to change?
You know, because they're not psychologically set to be able to make, they think they're perfect enough. So why change perfection, right? So the thing is that they will never find fault from within. They're not self-aware, okay, of their direct environment. They, you know, the thing is that they're too afraid knowing the truth about themselves. And that's what they fear the most, because they do not want for someone to point finger at them to say that you are the one at fault. And that's why narcissistic, they were always going to be able to elevate themselves and to be able to feel like, you know, everyone is wrong and you are right. Okay, so, or hey, I'm right.
But then, Dan, there are people that genuinely do want to change, but they can't.
Well, the thing is, you have to know what you want to change. If you are a cheater, then, you know, it's in your DNA. Okay, so some people will say
sometimes it's even genetics.
Yeah, exactly. So can you change DNA? You could change behavior. You could change, because everything is cognitive based. So if you know, if let's say your parents or your father was a cheater, then you say, well, if my dad did it, I can do it. It's normal. It's regular. So he did it. There was no problem. Well, unless if you see that you got divorced. But the thing is that they don't understand the repercussion. They only focus themselves in the immediate instant gratification of the act, not necessarily what can happen in the future or how many people they can hurt in the future or along the way. So can someone change? If they're willing deep inside and they realize they're self-aware that they have a problem, either telling lies constantly, either cheating or not being honest with their significant other. If they're willing to change, then they have to go and seek help. But if not on their own, they're not going to be able to. Try to ask a cocaine addict to immediately stop overnight. That's not going to happen. They have to go through, you know, like treatment. They have to go through like a lot of things to be able to make a change. So,
and sometimes it doesn't work either.
And
sometimes like I said, many times people really want to change and they can't, because it's just who they are, and it's so rooted into themselves that they want to, but they can't. That's why it's so unhealthy and not wise to go into a relationship trying to change someone.
Well, that's correct.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yes.
I'm curious about community impact. You know, I've dealt with narcissists, and I agree with you. The only way is to really keep a distance. But, you know, what about community impact? You know, you did mention, you know, there's this way that they are able to manipulate the opinions of others and be worshipped in a godlike manner and look innocent and wonderful, even while they're destroying the very roots of the relationships of the people they're intimate with. And I'm just curious if you have any suggestions about how to deal with it on a community level in terms of outing narcissists.
It's you know, are you, when you say community, is that person that is narcissist, are you emotionally involved with them, or is just a friend or a family member or a coworker?
Historical romantic partners, but you know, would you say for somebody who has a romantic partner who is a narcissist? I'm also a therapist. Okay. You know, but I don't tend to work with narcissists, so I'm curious.
Well, you know, it's a very good question. You know, the thing is that just like Yani was saying, you have to be able to be an observer, because if you are in an emotional relationship with a narcissist, you have to act differently than if it's just a coworker or a family member or a friend. You cannot really, you have to be like a chameleon. You have to basically wear a lot of different hats or a lot of different colors. Okay, so to answer your question the best possible way, it's very unique, because if it's a coworker or if it's just a friend, you can easily just depart yourself from the conversation, especially if you feel they're just there to be able to bring you down as a person. Because the thing is that if you try to contradict a narcissist, they will always feel that you're taking their power away. And if they feel this, they're going to retaliate quickly. And like I mentioned before, it's how you respond, not how you react.
Right. This isn't the question I asked. The question I asked is, how do you deal with the community aspects? How do you out a narcissist to the community? How would you most effectively, manage the reaction? Because if people have grown to love somebody and they've built up this stellar reputation that everyone who's ever been close to them knows is a nightmare, I'm curious how you would suggest destroying a narcissist.
You cannot destroy.
I wouldn't get there.
You can't destroy one because
I don't think it's worth it.
Their nose is way up their butt. Okay, so it's very difficult. It's going to be a challenge because the thing is that if they feel threatened, they're going to revert back at you, and they're going to feel that you're the one who deliberately tried everything in your power to be able to bring them down. So the word destroy, I would say a narcissist will only revert back and come and bite you in the butt. Okay, so the only thing that you could do is just, it depends. If they attack you personally, I would say do not react to their attack, because that
ignore is the best.
And you know what?
I guess I disagree, because I feel like the only way to stop abusers is to out them publicly and to have, there might be a retaliation, but at least everybody knows then,
Well, the thing is that
people won't believe you.
That people know, but everyone has an opinion. I mean, opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one. Okay. So the thing is that you have to kind of, whatever opinion they have of that person, you cannot change their mind because they have not yet experienced their wrath. You have.
Exactly. They won't believe you. She can share her opinion with her, let's say a close friend or someone that might be, that that might be going out with him or have intentions to go out with him. You can say, hey, can we go for coffee? There's something that I really want to share with you. And not, I don't mean bad, I mean good. But only someone that knows you, someone that, not a stranger, because if you approach a stranger or you try to publicly uncover them, take their mask off, it's not going to work, because the people that know him for what he presents to be won't believe you. Only someone that knows you, that knows your reputation, will listen. And sometimes they might even listen but doubt, because it's very difficult to believe something when you haven't seen it or experienced it yourself. I understand your frustration, because I went through something very similar. And I hated this person for a very long time. But the truth is, it's not even worth it to go into war with someone like this. It's not worth it.
But it's not about protecting the self. It's about protecting other people. I feel like it's irresponsible if you know someone is psychologically violent, but then at some point, I guess you just have to let go, because so you're not codependent and destroy your own inner peace. But I really feel like it's...
At least, like I said, at least the people that you know, you can definitely advise. But strangers, I wouldn't even try.
Yeah, because also this is, it's, again, some people have came to me to tell me that, hey, Dan, I was dating someone for 3 years. He didn't want to get married at all. And he said that he was commitment phobe. And then 6 months after we broke up, he married someone else. Now go figure. Maybe, again, it depends exactly how each behave in each relationship. It's, depending on how he was with you, we don't know how he's going to be with the other person. Again, like Yani said, if this person is physically violent, and that person that is going to date him or her, whatever it is,
I would warn the person.
You would
100%.
Because you want, but at least you know what? You did your job. You warned them. Whatever decision they make to be able to continue the relationship or not, that's their prerogative, not yours. You've done your job. But then again, if you're just there publicly to be able to bring them down, they're all gonna wonder, you know what? She's just like, it's like a disgruntled employee that just try to bring down the
company. They're gonna say you're a hater, you're hurt,
hater, you're this,
and then you're gonna look bad.
Yes, that's correct.
Because that's what automatically people think, unless they really know you, and they know you're not that type of person.
Or else it's only
so sometimes it's better to let go, clear your way, and walk forward, really. And once you are happy, let me tell you something. You leave a relationship, let's say it's a narcissistic or a cheater or a liar, whatever the case. This person did wrong to you, hurt you, wreck your nerves, whatever the case is. Life has its course. Everything runs its course. Okay, this person will pay for what they did. We all pay for what we do.
Karma.
This is what I believe. And then when you move forward and you find the one and you are happy, this person will be miserable. Believe me, it's the biggest slap in the face.
Yes.
Now, going back, the biggest slap in the face, it just leave it to the universe, leave it to life, leave it to God. Now, talking about the person that was in a relationship for 3 years and 6 months later, this man married someone else. I will tell you, a commitment phobe that would get married, this is what I have learned, my experience and what I have observed throughout my life. They usually marry someone that they can control and that allows them to have freedom to do as they wish. So they can be with someone else, whoever they want to be with, and be with that person at the same time. Meaning the person doesn't bother their life. They find someone weak for the most part so that they can continue being who they are, which is usually cheaters and narcissistics and liars and FOMOs and everything you can think of, because it's usually all linked together. And they have someone at home doing everything for them, and they can still be who they are and not be bothered. And maybe that's why he didn't marry the girl that was with him for 3 years, because she wouldn't allow that.
Again, to complete this, Yani, is that, like I mentioned originally, you're either in or out. And for this narcissist, either you are on their team, or you're out of their team. And the people who end up breaking up with narcissists is because you were not in his team. You got fed up with all the abuse, with all the insults, with all the either the cheating or whatever it is. But then again, as Yani said, they will go and find someone weaker, someone who cannot think for themselves. They have a very limited frame of reference. They just kind of only see that if you do not follow their agenda, you're not with them. And that's the biggest problem that they have. They do not differentiate what's normal and what's abnormal. Their conscious and subconscious mind are all intertwined. They just do not know how to separate what's right and wrong. And again, they may be also sociopath. I mean, the thing is, narcissist is like a combination of a lot of different illnesses, mental illness. And the thing is that what they don't understand, and they do not show any emotion and any empathy towards anyone. And eventually they're going to end up alone. That's the thing. So because no one can mentally continue with this abuse, it's constant. There's never any break. And that's the biggest problem that narcissistic, go through. Have we answered your question, Rivka? Are you there?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, thank you.
Okay, perfect.
Leave it to life, Rivka. Don't worry about it. Believe me. From experience. So you will find the one. He's going to have I don't even want to mention it, because usually when I say something happens. So also, and not a good life.
Yes. You see, the thing is, as we mentioned originally, you need to observe. Do not rush into anything, because a lot of the narcissists will only bring deceit in your life. As Yani was mentioning before, if let's say during the week they're with you and during the weekend they're elsewhere, and say, yeah, I got to go to my grandmother's birthday, and then you ask them a question, never ask an open-ended question, because for them it's easy to answer. It's either yes or no. Always leave them to elaborate the answer, because it's very easy to remember the truth. It's always difficult to remember a lie.
That's true.
Okay? So the thing is that they're always going to forget what they told you originally. So let's say they say, yeah, I went to the birthday of my grandmother. I say, oh, so who was there, or whatever it is. And it's not interrogating, okay? You have to really defend yourself. You really have to kind of figure out what they really did on a Saturday night. I mean, your grandmother is 85? By 6 p.m., she's in bed. So, I mean, don't give me that crap about, you've been out until 2 o'clock in the morning. She doesn't go parties at clubs. So, again, you have to really ask open question to figure out what really happened, or if they really were what they say they were. So again, the thing is, if you investigate, you're going to protect yourself from disappointment. And also you have to be realizing if you stop them crossing boundaries with you, this is something that at least is going to gain respect. But if they see that you're putting too many boundaries, they're going to leave the relationship, and they're going to say, it's because of you. You're too difficult. You're too demanding. You're too this. You're too that. You don't
You're
let
controlling.
You're too controlling. And suddenly they revert all of who they are, and they project their behavior back to you. So again, this is the reason why there's no winning with a narcissistic. So don't even bother trying to change one or trying to say, oh, no, you know what? It's a myth. No, it's not a myth. It's a fact. Simple.
I have a very easy solution. Very easy solution. It's very important to be aware of red flags. Like I said, I would have loved to have an opportunity like this when I used to date, really, because it opens your senses to things that you have not even thought of. But to make everything simple, when you're in a relationship, and I have proof, because I'm proof, my marriage is a proof that ideal partners exist, okay? If you're in a relationship and the relationship doesn't progress, if you are not in the same page, if you find yourself making all the plans, pushing your partner to do the right thing constantly, or in a relationship where you're unhappy because the person doesn't commit, because the person changes plans, because the person disappears during the weekend, if the relationship doesn't go the way that you expect, don't be afraid to break it off. Don't be afraid to not find anyone better, because sometimes we believe, oh my God, there's no one better out there. What if there's no one better? What if I'm expecting too much? And you start settling for less with people that have not enough potential to be with you. So if the relationship doesn't make you happy and progresses to where you want it to be, just break it off. Don't be afraid of being by yourself, because sometimes being by yourself is better than to be in a toxic relationship with someone who makes your life impossible or wrecks your nerves or your emotions. And you can be happy in a relationship if you're both on the same page, if you both share the same values, if you have the same goals and you move forward. You can be happy, you can thrive, you can get married, you can stay together for the rest of your life. If you feel like you're pushing too much, if you feel like you're fighting too much to make it work, if you feel like you're trying to convince constantly this person to do the right thing, you're in the wrong place. As simple. You're not going to change anyone, and you need to move forward. But then amicably.
Then again, you know, Yani, it's also what you mentioned is that happiness can be found, but also you have to decide what you're willing to give up. Okay. And I'm not saying it's meeting the other person halfway. Okay. Don't give too much and don't let them to give too much, because this has to be an equal relationship, both emotionally, spiritually, financially, and everything else. So never say, you know what, I think I can let go of this, or I can let go of that. If that's okay, it's your decision. Don't blame the person for giving up too much. You're the one who made that decision. Okay. So again, it's all about what you're willing to be able to accept. And if you know that this person is toxic, you're willing to accept this, and don't blame him for being the way he is or the way she is, because you've wasted 3 or 4 years of your life in a miserable relationship.
Right. Take responsibility. We have to take responsibility. And I always say, Dan, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I am. Don't you ever be in a relationship where you have to sacrifice your core values.
Correct.
For the sake of a relationship. Don't be in a relationship, again, for the sake of being with someone, for the, the fear of loneliness or years passing by, tolerating things that make you unhappy, because you will never be happy and you will only get older.
That's a good point. I noticed on the chat section of the Zoom, a lot of people have been asking me questions. I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to be able to look at it. So if someone can raise, there's a little button at the bottom of the screen. Now it's already like 8:50. I would like to be able to tackle some question and answers. So if everyone can raise their hand, I think there's a little button that says a reaction button or something that you could raise your hand. And go ahead, Daniel, ask your question. Unmute yourself.
So,
okay,
I had a quick question because I come across a lot of my friends and myself. Well, sometimes because you have a certain IQ, some people say that you have different standards, and at times it could be looked at as you are a narcissist because you feel like you have to get things your way or things have to be done a certain manner for you to be happy. But I wanted to know if that was possible to have somebody that's really, really intelligent to be considered as a narcissist, or just because he knows what he wants.
You know, you could be modest and have a high IQ.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not because you're smart like Stephen Hawking that you should be pompous or that you should be like walking in a cloud. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
you have to kind of like, you know what? It's again, it depends on who you're with. If the person is dumb as a doormat, then that's your choice to be with them. So no one really asks you or force you to be able to date them. Okay, so go to your level. I mean, I obviously, but again, it's not because you're smarter that you have to be feeling elevated. You can obviously,
Yeah.
you know, share your knowledge, share your you know, common interest. But again, you always have to decide: is that person going to grow with me or bring me down?
Yeah, that's true because I come across those type of people, but they have a hard time being understood. Sometimes they see certain things that like kind of go off somebody's head, and everybody's looking at you like you're kind of crazy, or you just it's somewhere out there. So,
Oh yeah, but I mean,
yeah,
are you talking your case, or are you talking about someone, a friend?
I mean, my case also, but I come across, I was in a group of people where we were going sometimes out and all that and get to engage with people, but sometimes some of the things that we used to say was coming across like we're kind of looking everybody down instead of just having a nice conversation. That's what it is. So sometimes it comes across as you guys are kind of selfish or we've been put aside.
You know, it's a good question because the thing is, when I did my doctorate degree, Daniel, I did come across a lot of the people in my class that had this kind of attitude that because they graduated from a doctorate degree, so they know everything about the world, and they knew absolutely nothing. They knew about their field, but nothing else. So you have to be really kind of knowledgeable in everything to be able to, but even with this, that doesn't give you an excuse or reason to be able to feel elevated compared to other people who do not have the luxury to be able to get the level of education that you have.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I never felt like, because when we were exchanging, I never felt like we were kind of different from different levels. But to me, it's just feeling like sometimes because you probably think a different way, you've been put in the box. Or I don't know, I don't understand him, or I don't see where it's coming from. So basically, it's just sometimes difficult to actually see that. Sometimes you try to connect, but it's really hard sometimes to find some people that have that can kind of relate to you. That's what I meant, really.
I understand. It makes perfect sense. Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Daniel, for sharing. Anyone else has any question in the room? Rivka, do you have your hands raised? Or Rachel has her hand raised.
No, actually, I think I have to go back in Paris, and I just like, okay, I have to,
time.
yeah.
Okay, so
I have to get used again because I don't know. I really don't know where I have to attach myself in some place. But
Yeah, that's hard.
okay. So what is your question, Fabienne?
So is there something you're trusting God to do with that little thing?
Yeah, just that I have to try that. Just to give me the confidence that He's know what He's doing, and whatever the place is putting me is according to His plan. I think that could be my main prayer, that He said, God, do whatever you want to do, as long as it's according to your plan, and don't let me commit some mistake. Whatever is like, just give me, and if it's what you want, I'm fine in that, because I know at the end, you know what is better, so I have to trust you.
That's true.
Hold on, Fabienne, are you talking to us or are you talking to on the phone?
Cheryl, anything that you're asking God to, is there something you feel you are about to run out of?
Hold on, I'm a bit confused. Fabienne, are you asking us a question? Are you talking to someone on the
just
phone?
like you just said, patience, but for completely different reasons. Yeah. So patience. I need lots of patience right now.
You know what I was thinking too? What if it's muscles weigh more than fat? So what if you're gaining?
Sound went off.
Yeah. Yeah, I muted Fabienne because I think she's on the phone with someone else. Okay, Rachel, go ahead.
It's funny. Even though it wasn't direct from what she was saying, I heard something in like trusting God and giving that over. And sort of similar to what Daniel was saying, I think that, you know, there's like a line between having that open heart and seeing the good in people and not being superior. But I also find myself often, and I'm curious, like more your perspective, because you're a coach yourself with your partner, is in my friend group, like I have no problem attracting men that are maybe feel compatible, but a lot of times in dating, I feel there's like a disconnection. Maybe the men are looking for coaching from me and I practice being in the feminine, but at the same time, it's also like holding the standards of the level of person that I'm looking for. And so I don't want to be that person on the other end, like thinking like I'm having too high of a standard, but then, so I'm just curious if you have any thoughts on, you know, because it takes a lot of my energy to be engaging with a lot of men, and it's a blessing and a curse, I'm sure you know, like I have no issue connecting with people.
But here's the thing, Rachel, if I understand correctly, either you are looking for clients or patient, or you're looking for a boyfriend. So then you have to decide what is your priority at this moment. So if you're looking for a boyfriend, then the relationship has to be more emotional and not trying to be the mother, okay? Because or else, if guy sees that you are following their request of advising them about life, advising them about choices, then you're putting yourself in the friend zone.
No, and so I'll pause you right there. Thank you. I've worked on that with some coaching of shifting out of that.
Okay.
So I guess when I shift out of that, though, I find many men, they just fall away. And so I know then that creates space for the right partner, but it's like I also want to activate seeing maybe can I evoke something more, but it's also just accepting the level of growth I've done. And you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard to know, because then many of them, then they just.
But you know, the thing is that the person that you, okay, so explain to me a little bit about the history here, okay? The guy that you went out with, he asked for advice knowing that you were a coach, and then what happened? Because he has to know what your career, what you do in life for them to say, oh, you're a coach, you know what, I'm having this problem, or I'm having this pain, or this or that. I mean,
no, I guess what I'm saying is that, no, I've retired my coaching of men I'm dating, but I'm sort of activating the good in a man. Like I feel it. I won't say anything. I stopped doing it, but I guess then it feels like then there's not that many men I want to date.
So what exactly, I mean, does the guy express interest outside of you being his coach? Does he show that he want to be more than just a client, coach relationship?
No, forget about that. It's just like I've been doing a lot of work with men the past few years, and I see there's wonderful men out there, but the level that a lot of the men show up, even when they have a strong personality, it'll be flaky or inconsistent. And I want to be compassionate that maybe they don't have all of those skills, but that's not the level of man I want. So then it just.
What level of men are you looking for, Rachel? There's other men in this room.
Someone at her level. She's looking for someone at her level. I understand you. There's nothing, we are all unique and beautiful as we are, but we all also have the right to search for someone that is at your level.
Yeah.
And it might be difficult for me. It was very difficult, believe it or not. But
Rachel,
you will find someone that is exactly what you're looking for. I'm sure.
You're allowed to ask
Can
what
I
you
say
want.
something?
You
Can I
know.
say something? Can I say something? Can I interject something? Is that okay?
Sorry?
Can I interject something?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Am I allowed to? Okay. No, I mean, I think, you know, I can relate to you because I played both sides of the fence of, you know, they come for advice and then being pursued, right? And to me, it's like, it's been more of like a numbers, and you just go, connections happen, you know? It either happens and it happens organically or it doesn't. And like, you're gonna know what feels good because you're gonna want more of that, and it's gonna just happen in that way. So if it's happening where you're more of the dynamic is more of a friends, then that tells you that that's the dynamic that it is for now. It might grow into something else, it might not, but you have the option to keep looking for that right dynamic for you that you're looking for.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think I'm being misunderstood. I just want to I want to ask Yani, like, I have let go of the mother. I have let go of the coaching. I think you hit it. It's just continuing saying next, but then also creating space to see, like, am I not seeing the man's potential, but also not overlooking and saying like, oh, there could be potential here when it's just maybe not somebody that's at the same level. So I'm just curious how you navigated dating to then still be open-hearted and compassionate with everyone you met, but also not waste time on people that just maybe were not.
Right. Well, you have to follow your instincts and your gut feeling, which usually we mute them when we become desperate. And like I said before, many times we don't even realize that we are desperate because naturally we want to build a home and have companionship naturally. Okay. When you are dating someone, as you go, you ask yourself, which obviously you ask yourself how are you feeling and what are you feeling when you are with this person. Do you feel like you are a mother to this person? Do you feel like you have to basically guide this person like a baby? No, I don't want to be with someone that I feel like I have to constantly be changing diapers. You know, you as you go, you see and you have conversations with yourself to understand what's the dynamic here. Do I feel that this is the man that's going to complement me, my knowledge, my intelligence, my experience, my expectations, or or is this just someone that might be able to make it work? No, you want someone, yes? You want someone.
Fire, yes.
you feel as you go if this is the person that really you want to be with. And,
right.
And like I said, many times we know the answer and we try to mute that answer because maybe you're wrong. You say to yourself, you know what, maybe I'm wrong. But then you ask yourself again and you answer something that is negative that you're not happy with, and you say it again to yourself, no, I think I'm wrong. I must be wrong. And you continue the same cycle.
Yeah.
No, you have to go with your gut's feeling. It happened to me. I gave many chances. I fell into terrible, toxic relationships, even abuse, horrible abuse. And I, thank God, I overcame all my challenges, all those awful experiences. And that's why today I can connect with anyone, usually much older than myself. And they ask me, how do you know this? Or you have no idea what I have gone through. Mm-hmm. Now I understand why. Everything happens for a reason. So anyway, I understand where you're standing. I think I do.
And I think that it's Dan?
Yes, Dan, that's correct.
Dan, like you pulled out some old weeds of like just noticing if I'm ever going to be, even from behind, like I stopped doing it actively, but even if energetically I'm like, oh, poor guy, I can help him. If any of that's happening, that's probably not the person. And then being more fierce with my trust.
Because, you know, the thing is, Rachel, if, you know, what are you willing to compromise? That's the question that you have to ask yourself. Are you willing to compromise on their level of intelligence to be able to find your significant other? Are you willing to compromise on your physical attractiveness towards that guy? Let's say this guy meets every of your checkbox, okay? kindness, sweet, compassionate and all, but he looks like the hunchback of Notre Dame. Are you willing to be able to let go of that, to be able to live a good life, or I would say a safe life with him, because you're certainly sure that he's never going to cheat on you? But the thing is that you have to really figure out what's really important to you, Rachel. What's really crucial for you to feel that this relationship is going to be equal with the other person. And I say equal, which is the level of attraction that you have towards him and that he has towards you. I mean, like I said, you want to be able to go out with someone that you are proud to be around with. You do not want him to put a paperback on his face when you go to the restaurant. Again, it's all about how you do things with him and the type of activity. So he has to really like what you like. He has to be, he has to be like into education, into knowledge, read, and, do all the things that you love doing, okay? But again, what are you willing to compromise? Maybe some things that you put in high level of importance, maybe, a priority to you. So you focus on that. But everything else, if it's not that important, put it on the side. You could always work around it as you grow the relationship with them.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Anyone else has any question?
Yeah. Are you going to talk about other red flags beyond just narcissism and some of these things, which I'd say are useful, but they're more like, assessing mutual, I wouldn't say they're well, they might be red flags, but they're more, I think of red flags as something different, like a woman who's a gold digger or a man who's a playboy or something, whatever.
Yeah, but you know what? Those red flags are somewhat obvious. If you go in and go to a date with a Mercedes and she shows like her eyes pops up from her eyeball, then yeah, you know that she's into how much money you could give her. But if you see that you come in with a bicycle to the restaurant, if she doesn't mind, then she's not into a gold digger. But again, what the thing is that society has really kind of put taboo into that kind of like mentality. If woman is a gold digger, she's the worst quality ever. But then again, again, gold digger is not necessarily that she wants you to be rich, but she wants you to be also responsible. Now, gold doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be Jeff Bezos of wealth. You have to have somewhat of someone who's responsible, someone who could earn his money, who could, have a career, and so on. Maybe in the past, she was with someone who was a loser, who could not hold a job. You don't know what the past is. So gold digger, that's only your perception, not necessarily what she is. So again, that maybe can be red flags for you, but not necessarily who she is as a person, Clint.
Can I add something, Dan? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Clint, I will tell you this also from experience, because I kind of have an expensive taste, and to certain men, they would completely be intimidated by that, thinking that that's all I care about. But reality is, first, there are women that have been through certain relationships and have realized that there are certain things they need. For example, feeling safe, feeling financially safe, okay? Liking, like I am, I love when a man is generous. Whatever you have that you like to share. So if the woman has a certain taste, like mine, which is kind of expensive, I'm hoping I don't make anyone feel uncomfortable here. It doesn't mean that she's a gold digger necessarily. She might be used to this, or she might like to, have nice things and be taken to nice restaurants. You shouldn't look at it in a negative way right away. Give yourself a chance to meet her and see what kind of a quality person she is, what kind of a woman she is, and whether she cares for what you have, if she's happy with what you can give her. But it's very important that a woman feels that whatever you have, you are happy to share. Because I will tell you from experience, other girls that have come to me throughout the years, telling me how some guy took them on a date and they felt so like the date wasn't special. He was always trying not to spend. He took them to to the cheapest places that, you know, we can sense whether the guy is really putting some effort into making the woman happy, again, with whatever you can, whatever you have. But when we sense that the man is being cheap, it's kind of a turnoff, because we want to feel special. Now, if you're dating someone and you notice that she's constantly all about money, that she's trying to take you shopping, you know, that she's trying to always take you to expensive places, you realize that she needs something that might be out of your reach and you're not comfortable with, because everyone is in a different financial level and it's completely fine. But again, observing when you're dating the person that you're dating, because if you perceive the person right away by what you think it is, you might be judging the person unfairly, and it might be actually a great woman.
You know, if you have to remortgage your house, Clint, run away. Simple.
So if you have to take out a second mortgage, you should run away.
If you finance a second mortgage, you take her out. Hasta la vista, baby. This is up to the
no.
Then again, like Yani said, really see what her past is. Maybe she was only dating people who were not responsible about money. It's not necessarily she wants something expensive. Maybe it's expensive for her, but for you, you might say it's affordable. Again, all depends on your financial status or your financial condition. You have to really look at it this way. Again, if she wants one restaurant per week or one dinner a week outside, that's okay. That's fine. That's not really gold digger. But if she wants you to drive a Lamborghini, then yes, then I understand it's something to shy away from.
Okay, yeah, I mean, you know, it's more, with no judgment, it may not be that she's a social climber. It may just be that, you know, of the 5 love languages, maybe her love language is gifts, receiving gifts. And maybe that's not what you're looking, you know, that's not your forte, what you excel at, how you want to be appreciated or whatever. So
but then again, you don't need to have the same love language as her. If your love language is words of affirmation, and she knows how to speak to you with those words, then she knows your love language. If her is gifts, again, the gift doesn't need to be like $10,000. You know,
it could be a flower.
It could be a flower. It could be a card.
It could be a nice dinner. We can really feel
right. Yeah, I think those are fine. You know, gifts of time or energy or effort or appreciation. Those are. But if she's looking for you to buy her a Mercedes or cruise trip,
especially before marriage.
Oh, hell no. No, definitely this is something to, these are red flags. But then you know what? Be like Yani said, be an observer. See how she lives. If she makes her own money and she buys her own stuff, hey, all the power to you, girl. Congratulations, you've succeeded in life. But that doesn't mean that you take over those responsibilities.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure. I know, Clint, there's a lot for us to cover when it comes to like red flags. It's such a broad subject that you know, but we cannot really tackle everything, not in a very short period of time.
Maybe in the next one.
I'll let other people ask.
The next one we can have cheaters. I mean, there's so much really.
Yeah, there's a lot. Does anyone want to take the last question?
Yes, me, I can.
Yes.
Yeah. Me, the problem is, I'm sorry. I'm going to talk about mixed couple, right? Because I'm a Black girl, and it's like sometimes the culture is different. And you know what I'm saying? What I want to say? Sometimes the culture is different, and you don't know when you start to date with people if the person that could be willing to be with someone, they are on different ways. So that is sometimes I ask the question, should I really have to give a chance, or I'm just losing my time and that's not worth it? And probably for the person come because it's like something exhausting. Yeah. Excuse me, it's a particular question, but yeah.
Okay, you know, Fabienne, cross-cultural relationship can be challenging. I don't know if anyone in this room have watched the show 90 Day Fiance. Has anyone came across it?
Yeah.
I have seen it.
Okay.
I have glanced at it.
So they were talking about, you know, Americans going to other countries and falling in love with someone that was from another culture. And then, of course, there's culture clash. You don't know how to talk to the other person based on their values, their principles, their core beliefs, and so on and so forth. So again, that created some kind of misunderstanding on how you could adapt to what they want. Their love language maybe is not the same as what Charles Chapman is. Maybe they have another kind of love language that you have to really understand to really cater to their needs, emotional, spiritual, financial, whatever it is. So again, you have to be observing how they are. When it comes to long distance relationship, this is a completely different subject in which we're going to tackle that another time. But if you are dating an American and you are from another country, whatever that is, then you have to really understand what they're looking for and what you should expect from them, Fabienne. So that's something that you really have to put priority in understanding who you are as a person first, not who you can become to make them happy at your expense.
Okay, thank you.
My pleasure, Fabienne. Anyone else? So before we conclude this wonderful, amazing event.
Well, I feel like we kind of got off track with all the questions. Is there a quick synopsis you can give on the red flags that you were giving initially? Because
Yes.
I don't. It doesn't seem that we really went through a whole lot of red flags.
Yes. Well, the thing is that of course we had, elaborating. We could just focus on narcissistic, and I could speak about it for the next 10 hours. The thing is that we try to bounce from one to the other by providing or by sharing some different topics, Pamela. And the thing is that obviously the red flags that you always have to be aware of before you get into a relationship is based on how you observe the other person. Because if you do not know how to observe it, if you're blinded just because you're so eager to go into a relationship, then you're going to miss a lot of them. But then again, like I said, someone who's not respecting you, this is a red flag. Someone who's violent, here's another red flag. Someone, let's say you go to dinner with them and they treat the staff very poorly, that's a flag. If, let's say, you see that they're cheap or well, again, if we go back to what Clint said, it depends on what your financial status is. If you bring them to McDonald's the first day, you're certainly not going to meet them the second time around. So again, those red flags are like a mountain that you have to go and climb. And more you kind of discover who the other person is, and more you're going to start realizing if this is something that you could deal with, or if you can't, run away, because these things are not going to change. So the red flags can be a mountain of different things. It depends exactly what is a red flag for you and what are you willing to do to be able to accept them, compromise, or just say, forget about it. So again, narcissistic personality disorder, okay, that's one red flag. If this person is always
FOMO, fear of missing out,
if
cheaters,
they always feel, like I said, to want to meet someone else, or always eager to, if they're always on dating site, despite the fact that you already dated or went out on a date with them for the past 5-6 months, then there's a problem there. Again, a lot of people are good actors, Pamela. They're going to hide their true colors in the beginning until you fall for them. And after you fall for them, then they're going to gaslight you. They're going to do everything in their power to be able to make you feel that you're the one at fault. Again, this is manipulating your thought process. It's manipulating the way you behave. And if you accept or if you tolerate their toxic approach towards you, it's
never going to change.
It's never going to change. And you're going downhill into the abyss of the relationship. I hope I was able to at least somewhat answer your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, my pleasure. So, okay, to finalize, I'm going to, because I know that during the event, some more people signed in because they signed in late. So again, my name is Dr. Dan, and I am the one who's actually, I'm hosting this with my good colleague, Yani. I have a doctorate degree in organizational leadership and communication with a minor in quantum physics, and I am a cognitive behavior psychotherapist. I deal with depression, anxiety, narcissistic personality disorder, and a lot more. I do marriage counseling, and I do also anger management and weight management. I'm actually a fitness trainer for the past 30 years or 20 years within the National Academy of Sports Medicine. So I have an extensive knowledge in basically every field. And a lot of people ask me, do you ever sleep? question is, I don't. I'm like a vampire. But
So
overall,
cute.
Yani, if you could just explain to people about your 3 months program, I know that you have something that that they could not, decline the offer.
Yes. Well, I crafted a 3 months love course for ladies to start. So Rachel, Fabian, Rivka, Stephanie. The program is based on 4 principles: clarity, focus, boundaries, and a lot of personal growth, mental and emotional growth. You want to be strong. And we're gonna be meeting once a week on Wednesdays. This is the first group. Is gonna be in English. I'm gonna have a Spanish also group, group also, and it's going to be at 8 p.m. every Wednesday. You guys all speak English, so whoever's interested, I message to all of you the link where you can find more information about the program. You can register and you can even pay for your course. You can join me. It's only $199. It's 12 classes. It's a unique opportunity. On top of it, ladies, I'm a professional stylist. I graduated from the the Art Institute of New York City in 2008. I'm a fashion designer as well. And I was I'm a former professional dancer. So I'm going to be helping the ladies with your personal presentation, your look, because I want to help you to look your best. So it's 12 classes, just $199. You can find all the information that you need there. It's www.coachyani.com/love_course. Starting with ladies. Then I'm going to have a program for men's too.
Okay. So if a guy wants to wear makeup, it's okay, right?
No.
No, okay.
This is ladies, then
Okay.
the men.
The ladies only. Okay, good. So
Hi, I'm
I would
sorry.
like to
I
take...
had one more question.
Yes, go ahead.
So, Dan, when you were speaking about you work with people who are narcissistic,
Yes.
and the guy that I was with, he was in therapy, so that was one of the reasons why I stayed with him for the time that I did, thinking that he was going to get better. But I've come to understand it's really hard to change if you are a true narcissist. In your experience, what people actually overcome their issues that are narcissistic and go on to, I guess, get better and be empathetic and live, I guess, I don't want to say better lives because they think they're living a good life. So what, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes. You answered your own question, actually. You said what they do in therapy, I focus a lot on developing empathy because they lack that specific feeling towards, because that's the reason why when they talk to others in a very demeaning way, they don't realize it, Pamela. You see, the thing is that you will realize, oh my God, maybe I hurt their feeling, or you will realize, oh, I've been too harsh, or you will realize because you have that sense, that neural sense in your mind that can actually tell you the words that you're choosing can be hurtful to others. They do not know that. Okay, they could not. So I help them develop this sense that they should have to be able to realize that, whoa, they stop themselves in their track and they say, oh, maybe I said something that is not, that is insensitive. And what I do also is that I always ask them to reiterate what they said and ask the other person, said, hey, did I say something that offended you? Because if they do that, the other person is going to say, no, everything is fine, or no, I don't feel offended. Or the other person, as a matter of fact, yes, you said something that was pretty hurtful. So if they develop this kind of feedback, they suddenly retrain their mind to be able to start understanding all the words that they're saying. Some of them may be hurtful. It's like basically a dog. I'm not trying to compare the men with a dog here. In some cases they are, but if let's say you ring a bell and then you feed a dog, and then you do this for a few times, and if let's say you ring the bell again, but you don't have any bone for the dog will still be salivating because he connects the ring of the bell with food. Same thing here. So when you tell them, or when you help them ask the question, hey, did I offend you? And you do this over and over again, then the other person, or the person on the other end, will either say, no, you didn't say anything that offended me, or you say, yeah, you know what, you did. And then they will explain them why was it offensive. and then they're not going to repeat this again the next time around, because they're going to be more in tune with the words that they're using during any type of conversation.
But what percentage of guys, or not guys, but men and women that come to you for therapy actually go on to be able to do that?
You know, imagine this, Pamela. It took them, depending on the age they are, if let's say they're 30, 40, or 50, imagine 50 years of constant developing the mind and being or having a narcissistic behavior. It takes almost, you know, it takes a while to be able to change. If the person is willing and understand, they're self-aware that they have a problem and they're willing to change, you could do it quicker than those who will be in denial. Those who are in denial will not go seek therapy anyway. So, but those who are actually seeking therapy, that means it's a cry for help. They know that they've hurt and they've destroyed many relationships in the past because of their behavior, and they need to make a change, because going on the same path is like the definition of insanity. You do the same thing over and over again and you expect different results. So again, if you're willing to make a change, you will make a change, but that doesn't happen overnight. It varies from one person to the other, Pamela.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. So before we conclude this seminar, I would like to thank each and every one of you for attending. And we're going to have, Yani and I are producing or creating a lot more of those seminars, and we're going to cover different topics about the challenges of dating and relationship in the 21st century, and especially post-pandemic. So the thing is that now the way that people date is not going to be the same anymore. They're always going to say, hey, you're going to be coming to a date with a temperature gun, asking if they have the COVID-19 or not. So again, it's it's something that you have to really adapt. And remember, you can never fight human nature. You can only work with it. Because if you fight human nature, you are going to fail miserably. So always adapt with your environment. Never stay, no, you know what, I'm going to stay the same way. It's not going to work. You go like you surf the wave. Don't try to swim against current. Swim with the current. Yani, do you want to say a few concluding words to these incredible people here?
I hope you found it helpful. Does anyone want to give a little bit of feedback on how you feel after the workshop? Do you feel like it helped you? Did you learn anything new?
Yeah, for me it was useful because there is some of stuff you say, even we know it, you know, we can read about that, we know it, but when you go to the relationship that we start to date the person, you forget about it.
Sometimes we need confirmation. Sometimes we know the answer to our questions, but we're either in denial, we're not sure, or we need confirmation just to feel, just to understand that it's not just a thought, it's a fact. So I hope that it's helpful to all of you, and hopefully the next one is going to have, maybe we can have another red flags in 2-3 weeks then, with more flags, because there's just so many. Really, there's so many.
You know, actually we could go on like that until the year 2025 and still come up with new flags. But then again, can we really anticipate and predict what or how people will behave? That's very hard to do. But if you're at least familiar with certain of those flags, you know when you need to run away, and you know when you have to stick around. And that's what we're trying to do, is just to be able to give you the tools so you could avoid wasting 2, 3, 4 years of your life and end up with nothing.
Yeah. So again, hopefully we're going to see you soon, all of you. Hopefully we're going to have another workshop very soon.
We have recorded this video, and we're going to make it available, and we're going to give you the link of YouTube. Okay? This way you guys can go through back again and listen to, you know, if you have any question or if we missed something, you could send us an email and tell us, hey, you know what, we'd like to be able to talk about this specific red flag that we didn't cover. And I know, Clint, like I said, we only have an hour. Well, we've been on it for an hour and a half. We can go on for 6-10 hours and still have something new to talk about.
Okay, that'd be great. Yeah, look forward to it.
Thank you so much, everyone. Again,
have a good night, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you.
I shared my
Thanks very
email
much.
and my number.
Bye-bye.